Hello, and welcome back to the Ocean Stewart Library. Well, it has been a little while since my last review here. It's been a busy several weeks, and that has impacted my reading. A few weeks ago, I checked out Sing Like Fish from our local library, and I just finished it up. So today, I want to review Sing Like Fish: How Sound Rules Life Underwater by Amorina Kingdon. Sing Like Fish was published in 2024. Now, Amorina Kingdon is a science writer with honors including a Digital Publishing Award, a Jack Webster Award, and Best New Writer from National Magazine Award. Amorina was also a staff writer at Hakai Magazine. Now, as a scuba diver, I know that the ocean is a noisy place. We hear all sorts of things when we are underwater, from snapping shrimp to parrotfish scraping the algae to grunts and barks from various species. There's one in particular that makes a distinctive sound that we heard in Hawaii, the Hawaiian bacillus, and that makes a series of raps as it tries to chase you away. Now, Amorina starts our journey off the west coast of British Columbia, Barkley Sound to be precise, where we are introduced to Kiernan Cox, who is trying to understand how sound propagates through the kelp forest and its impacts. You see, for Kiernan, he thinks a healthy reef is a noisy reef. But for a long time, scientists weren't sure that fish could actually hear. However, we're told about all the crazy experiments that researchers of the time did to try and determine if fish could actually hear. Some of the experiments are pretty gruesome. I sometimes have issues with some of that. We just shouldn't be harming animals in search of science. But they did come to the conclusion that fish could in fact hear and use sound to survive by finding food, habitats, and avoiding predators. Amorina also gives us a primer on sound in the water. First, starting with the experiments that were conducted to determine the speed of sound in water. Way back in the day, this was done using shotguns and other explosives that were set off at great distances to figure out when the sound arrived in the water versus in the air. We are also given a quick lesson on the physics of sound as it travels through water. I couldn't help but be a bit amused at the reference to the book Principles of Underwater Sound by Robert Urich. I actually had this reference and used it quite extensively when I was a consultant for the government focused on anti-submarine warfare. How sound travels in the ocean is extremely important to the navies of the world. From there, we start to get exposed to fish communication with one another. There is the hum of the plain-finned midshipman fish and the knock of the cusk eel. Fish use their swim bladders to make noise to tell others fish, I'm here and it's me. Another key use of sound in the ocean is echolocation. There are numerous examples in the book about how the various toothed whales use echolocation to navigate and hunt. There is an interesting part about how they tracked a baby beluga whale's verbalizing. It's kind of like a human baby starting to talk. First, it's sort of gibberish, and then finally turns into dialect. Whether it be the clicks of dolphins or the song of the humpback whales, sound is critical to the health of these ocean inhabitants. Now, I haven't been fortunate to see a humpback whale while diving, but I've certainly heard their amazing song when we were in Hawaii. Powerful. Sometimes when they were close by, you could feel it reverberating in your chest. Now, if sound is so critical, noise is devastating, and noise is coming from everywhere. It's coming from naval sonar, seismic prospecting, pile driving, and from the incredible explosive growth in the number of ships across the globe. To put the number of ships in perspective, in 1980 there were about 700,000 merchant ships. By 2020, that number grew to over 2 million. That is a lot of noise. Now, here is why all this noise is even worse. You see, if you take a noise that is 80 decibels in air, it gets amplified in the water to 140 dB. A long time ago, when I was in the Navy, I was on an anti-submarine warfare frigate, and we would routinely go out for exercises where we used our active sonar. It was loud, and I now know that we were in fact causing impacts to the whales that came to Hawaii each year. Amorina takes us through each of these human-induced noises with examples of the impact and harm. Sing Like Fish is packed with so many examples of how sound is needed underwater and how noise is affecting life in the ocean. For me, I struggled a little bit with trying to keep up. The book was interesting, but not as captivating as some of the others I talked about here. However, if you are wanting to learn more about the ocean, then Sing Like Fish, How Sound Rules Life Underwater by Amorina Kingdon should make your reading list. Thanks again for joining me here in the Ocean Stewart Library. Hope you enjoyed this latest review, and please give the video a like, and also stay up to date on my channel by simply hitting the subscribe button. Bye for now, and stay tuned for more.